Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 161 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Durek as per usual. And today we're talking all things footy. Obviously, we start with the Whitecaps, but nothing really going on this week. But just a quick reminder that big offseason dates coming up. On the 9th, the half-day trade window, and the 11th is the expansion draft for San Diego City SC.
Yeah, so not a whole lot. With the half-day window, we're not going to have a coach by then. I know the Whitecaps are pretty blunt in their line of demarcation of, who coaches, who brings in the players and stuff like that. So this is Schuster's team to build. I still don't see anything happening. It might be interesting to see if they maybe try to move someone along, maybe to open up some cap space, or with some of the contracts of club options they declined, but are still in talks. We'll have to wait and see.
That's what I'm also thinking as well. But we're going to talk about...
The other thing is if anything gets done before then, it might be because they want to leave people unprotected for the expansion draft.
Yeah, and reminders, San Diego can take 5 MLS eligible players for the expansion draft.
And we should mention that teams have to have their protected lists in the day before on the 10th.
Yeah, so we'll know by then.
Yeah.
All right, so the Canadian women's national team played their 2 friendlies in Murcia, Spain. And the first one on Friday, very boring, 0-0 draw against Iceland. The midfield looked good, defense looked good, goalkeeping looked good, but everything except the finish and the attack once again.
It was frustrating to watch. The number of times that Prince was offside.
I lost count.
Yeah, 3 or 4, and I think that was only in the first half alone. The number of times that Leon got into great positions but could not hit the net, either put the ball over or wide. There wasn't a lot of testing for Iceland's keeper, and when there was, it was from pretty far out.
Yeah, and just a lot of lack of ideas in the final third, a lot of timidness in the final third, a lot of hesitant to shoot. It was an issue. It's an issue going back to last year's World Cup, not even this year. So
I do wonder if it's a little bit of the rust with everything
probably
going around with this team. Also, we had an interim coach, right? Yes, she's been with the squad before, Cindy Tai, but not in this capacity. Everyone's just trying to, feel things out. Where do we stand? What are we doing? It's good. It's good to have a camp like this to figure some of that stuff out. Also to make the program feel like, whatever noise is happening over here, you're still running. You're still going. You're still keep doing what you're doing. But that first game was tough to watch. It was very frustrating as a spectator.
Yeah. And Jade Revere, I guess she was the player of the match, for the way she did well in the midfield. But overall,
interesting was Revere, because for Revere to play on the right, they moved Ashley Lawrence over to the left. Yeah. I thought it was a really good switch. And Revere, a player that's come into her own this year. We're seeing a lot more from her. I think she was the most dangerous player on the pitch with the service that she was providing. I do find she can kind of get a little bit of tunnel vision. Yeah. She relies on her speed and her passing accuracy, but when she is running, she is looking straight and she's not noticing the players coming in to try and stop her. She becomes very easy to knock off the ball and it's a big if someone can catch up to her.
Yeah, and Iceland didn't really test. I mean, they did test Sabrina D'Angelo, but she came up big when she was needed, but nothing really.
Unfortunately, D'Angelo got injured in the first half, was forced off at halftime, and we brought in Liziana Prue, first cap for Canada. She took over. Again, she wasn't tested all that much. But, you're bringing in a brand new goalkeeper at a 0-0 draw, right? Things can happen, right? So you have to be sharp, and she handled herself very well.
Yeah, and overall, not much to say left about the Iceland game. Just pretty frustrating game. But then yesterday. 5-1 wrecking of South Korea, night and day. And you said building off ideas, trying to learn. Well, they did learn from the Iceland game because this one was much, much, much better.
Much better. Again, few changes. Riviera on the bench. Ashley Lawrence back over to her classic right position.
Right side.
We were talking about Regan, normally a center back, playing as a 6. A little bit further up, relying more on not only her ball winning capabilities, but distribution, almost like as a deep lying playmaker. And a different pair up front in Olivia Smith.
Yep.
You had Aladu kind of just right
Maria
behind her.
As the 10, yeah.
Yeah, so very, very different up front. And you know what?
It worked.
The shakeup worked.
Yeah, and Smith and Aladu, I mean, two of the best players in the match. They were pressing. They were making sure the Korean back line were just giving the ball away. I mean, Smith forced the first goal. It was an own goal off the Korean defender, but she was the one that forced it. And then second half, she scores one herself. And then there's Aladu's screamer from just outside the box as well.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah.
I think we have to say this was definitely not the best game for the South Korean captain, Lim Sinju. She was the one credited with the own goal. She had a number of she kept missing her player. I think she's going to have nightmares of Smith last night.
Yeah, Smith was all over her. And the way she just bullied her on her goal.
I was going to say composure and strength.
Yeah,
right. You cannot knock her off the ball, but she is calm on the ball, regardless of the players around her. She makes space for herself, which, I mean, we saw it on her goal where she was able to keep 3 defenders off her back.
Yeah, and the way she just powered through and then perfect finish.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Vanessa Gilles, finally a goal off a corner, a set piece. Oh no, sorry, not the set piece, off the free kick.
Free kick.
Goal, for South Korea, right before it was the corner. A little bit of really bad marking.
Yeah, poor marking
on that
there.
goal. But you know,
and then I can't remember the way they just took the ball out of the net and just that was just unnecessary. The whole thing. I get you frustrated.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of when teams that just got scored on do that. They hug the ball, they stop a team from either cheering or from just getting the game going. I'm sorry, you're winning at that point.
You're up 3-0.
3-1.
Yeah, it's 3-1.
It's a friendly. Just get going. Like, it's, to me, that is just unsportsmanlike play. So yeah, not a fan of that. And then Leon comes in, late sub, great turn inside the box to take it on her.
Great finish too.
Left. Yeah,
and it's also worth mentioning that Vancouver Whitecaps FC Girls Elite star Geneva Hernandez-Gray got the assist on Leon's goal, and that was her first cap
as well.
Yeah, and
only 18 years old off the Whitecaps Elite Rex program.
I believe she committed to, I can't remember which university, but Auburn, I think. Can't remember. Somewhere around that.
You hope that she's continuing her career in soccer somewhere. I mean, getting an education, yes, great. I have to say that my dad was a teacher.
Yeah.
But I definitely hope to see her suiting up laces and continuing somewhere.
Also, Nia Rose, the young forward, 19 years old, plays for SMU Mustangs, also a university player. She made her debut. And 28-year-old, this one was a long time coming, more of an under-the-radar women's player, Megan Reed, who plays for Angel City FC in the NWSL. She started the game, did well.
Did great. Good center back pairing with Gilles. I mean, Gilles, what can you say about her? You put anyone beside her, that she's going to make them look good. And I got to think that for someone like Reed, yes, you're a seasoned veteran player, but this is your first time playing with the national team. Having someone like that beside you helps.
Yeah, and Jill's she has to be the Canadian Women's Player of the Year, not just for what she's done with Canada, but she's been pretty good with Lyon.
Center back, who I believe this year for Canada scored 4 goals.
Yeah, I mean, remember she scored quite a bit in the Olympics.
Yep.
And hey, she can defend, she can score goals. I guess she's the
Phenomenal.
complete
Phenomenal.
defender.
Yep. I mean, there's a few other players that I think you could put into contention, but I absolutely agree with you. She was the women's best player of this past year.
Yeah, too bad for Jade Revere, who came on like 46 minutes, only played 20 minutes because apparently she got injured her leg, it looked like.
She got stepped on from behind, studs on the Achilles.
Yeah, that is not good.
Innocuous accident. Like, it didn't look like it was malicious or anything like that, but you get caught like that. That is incredibly painful. So hopefully, and the other thing, with her, they were worried. Sorry, I think I had the players mixed up. They were worried about her knee and this is a player that's also had knee problems in the past. Yes. So they're, partly precaution. We should also mention that, as soon as she went down injured in the next play, she wasn't able to hold on to the player that she was supposed to be marking, got by her. And I mean, we just talked about in the first game how fast she is. Like, she can do that. And then after that, she sat down and they had to take her off. So yeah,
she tried to continue.
Hopefully she is okay.
Okay, and hopefully by the next window, whenever that'll be, like in the spring, February actually, she will be fully.
And hopefully they have a coach by then.
Yeah, and take away from this game, and it's a good way to end 2024 for the women's team. And I just hope this is the beginning of the attack coming to life, because all year, even back to 2023, the attack just looks so toothless. Not in this game. Sure, it's a friendly, but it's something to build on.
It is. I don't think that this was an audition for the coaching staff. I think Ty is very, very happy at Dalhousie. I think it would be an interesting if they find some way to use Caitlin Collar. If she can do double duty with the Rex program, I mean, that would be optimal, especially for the Whitecaps. But she is an individual for what she has been able to do with the girls with the Whitecaps.
Yeah.
I see it as a move, maybe not as a head coach, but more as an assistant coach now. But I would say that she's more than ready and more than proven herself. Whether or not her name's in the running, whether or not she wants her name into the running, I don't know. But I have to think that her name's at least been discussed.
Yeah, I would assume that if she's willing to make the jump, she'd take the assistant coach position.
I would think so.
Already has now. And believe it or not, the women's team went undefeated in 2024 minus penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
So as chaotic and turbulent this year was due to the drone scandal, Beth Priestman's allegations, and everything, there was some sort of off on the pitch success, even though it's not the way they wanted it to be, or anyone wanted it.
This is, I mean, hands down, it's a top 10 team in the world.
Yeah.
But it for as good as they're doing, it does feel like it has stagnated. They needed a new breath of life anyway, I would think. It's kind of being imposed on them. So, I mean, it's coming in regardless. My hope is that when it comes to a head coach, they look from outside.
I hope they would. And
they look from outside. They find something that, support that person from outside with people inside, like we were just talking with some potential assistant coaches, but inject some new ideas, inject some healthy competition for spots, and, shake things up a little bit, bring that belief back that you not only push to the higher levels of these tournaments, but that you should be imposing yourself on teams.
Yeah, and coach, to bring back that swagger, bring back that never say die mentality to the women's team. Let's not forget, not only the Olympics, they got knocked out of the She Believes Cup and the Women's CONCACAF Gold Cup, both to the United States this year on penalties.
Yeah.
So
the other thing we have to remember is there's not any tournaments coming up for the women's program.
Not until February, I believe.
And even in February, isn't that just friendlies as well?
I believe it is.
We don't even have teams yet. So in terms of actual tournament competition, whenever you're bringing in a new coach, they're going to have time. They're going to have time to work with their players, build an identity, build a philosophy going forward, so that when it comes to these tournaments down the road, hopefully they can hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I don't know if they have not been invited to the She Believes Cup as of now. So
that's the only one that if that happens, yes, that would be early. But as of right now, it's not on the calendar.
Yeah, and as of now, focus on finding the new head coach, see if the new coach likes what the setup is now, and hopefully that coach can build on his or her ideas to take Canada to the next level. And that friendly against South Korea was a glimpse of what possibly could be, hopefully could be for the women in 2025. So it was quite the year for the women, but good it ends off on a high note, somewhat.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to MLS. MLS Cup is set. So just like we all predicted, it's LA Galaxy against the New York Red Bulls. Another LA versus New York sports final matchup after the World Series this year with Dodgers and Yankees. But it's Carson, California against Harrison, New Jersey.
There you go, right? The two behemoths when you think of soccer. You know what? LA Galaxy, I think, fully deserve it. I think you should. They were leading the Western Conference up and until decision day, weren't they?
And then they lost it on the final on decision day.
Pipped by LAFC. I think they are well deserved. I think it's really nice to see, especially when you look at the recent history of the Galaxy. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where there was protests happening outside of their stadium.
Yeah, but their executive team brought in Greg Vanney, brought in some good signings. I mean, look at Peck, Paintsel, and all that. I mean,
Peck is
they just
Paintsel has come on, but yeah, Peck has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
and then New York Red Bull. I don't think anyone saw this in the East.
The 7th seed, let's not forget, and most people had them going out to Columbus, but they beat Columbus. They beat New York City FC. They held off Orlando away also.
Yeah.
Good defending, just that one goal.
Yeah. They're very, very stingy in defense.
Yeah, and the Galaxy, Sounders made it difficult in the Western Conference final because at times the Sounders looked so threatening. They looked like they had Galaxy in their own half. It looked like Sounders would score, but Joveljic scores the winner in the 85th minute past Stephen Fry and sends LA Galaxy to their first MLS Cup final since 2014. And this is basically two founding clubs of MLS in the final.
Yeah. I think it's a good matchup. I think the lack of optimism in me kind of thinks this is a little bit of a saving grace for Don Garber. I think he's a little bit happy that he's got two big TV central centers in the States. You know how they split them up into 6 zones. I think he's very happy about this.
East Coast, West Coast, yeah.
Yeah, and also 2 of your biggest cities, right? I think it's a good matchup. I think I know who's going to win. But then again, it's 90 minutes, so who knows?
90 minutes plus extra time and penalties. And sadly, Ricky Puig will not play an MLS Cup final. He tore his ACL on a tackle from Nuhu against Seattle and continued playing throughout the whole, pretty much a few more minutes. And he'll miss MLS Cup, miss some time away. Fortunate for him. So that's going to sting.
They called it an ACL, didn't they?
Yeah, but... Yeah. See how they do without him, but let's not forget they have Joveljic, Paintsel, Peck, and of course Marco Royce.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the middle of the park, right? Because Puig is a very, very difficult player to replace.
Yeah, Puig is their best player. I mean, his creativity, his tackling ability.
Yeah.
And then there's New York with the likes of Emil Forsberg and Lewis Morgan that lead their attack. And I mean, they're also a very good defensive team. They've only given up what? They gave up no goals in the last 2 rounds.
They were one of the better defensive teams in the East, weren't they?
I believe they were, and they can score too.
Yeah,
let's not forget.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, John Tolkien is I guess he's one of the better defenders around MLS as well. But it'll come down to the likes of Emil Forsberg to get them any chance of beating Galaxy.
My money's on Galaxy.
Yeah, I go 3-1 LA Galaxy. Could be more given how much the Galaxy can score.
The game's going to be in LA, right?
Yeah, in Dignity Sports Health Park. So that's also.
I have a feeling that what they call the 12th man. That's going to be very, very overpowering.
Yep. But
Galaxy, when Galaxy gets to these positions, they know how to win.
Yeah, I mean they've proven that they're a force to be reckoned with this year. I mean, Greg Vanney has won an MLS Cup before when he was with TFC. Yeah. That's also a factor. And Red Bulls fans will be making a bunch of Red Bulls fans will be making a trip to LA, probably in part to the Red Bull organization paying for their fans' flights and hotel packages, which is a really cool gesture.
Yeah, which you got to think that's Red Bull. They've got the money to do that. You wouldn't see that for many other clubs. The fact that they can and the fact that they did, very cool.
Yeah, so we'll see some bits of red for MLS Cup. And a shout out to Edgar and the rest of the News Across the Galaxy podcast people. Their team is in the MLS Cup final, so shout out.
We'll be watching with them.
Yeah, we'll be watching from our TVs up here in Vancouver. And yeah, I think this should be a good final. I think Galaxy will win, but don't count out New York Red Bulls. But I'll stick with 3-1 LA Galaxy.
Yeah, I think 3-1 is. I think that there's goals in this game. I think you're on the mark.
Yeah, but once that Galaxy attack starts scoring, they can't stop. So
that's not the only MLS news, though. We'd already talked about off-season dates, but there has already been one move. Obviously, it's not gone through yet, but it will. Mark-Anthony Kaye has been traded from New England Revolution to San Jose. So he's going to rejoin with Bruce Arena, who's now taken over at the Earthquakes. Sounds like the deal. It was first reported by Tom Bogert. $500K in GAM and an international roster spot. So significantly sized move already.
Yeah, and Kaye he's played for a bunch of MLS teams.
Yeah,
already.
Toronto, most notably.
Toronto is one of them. 30-year-old midfielder. He's played Toronto, LAFC, Colorado, New England, and now San Jose. So he's a bit of a journeyman. And he rejoined.
Also has a few caps for the Canadian men's national team. 42 caps since first being called up in 2017. So he knows MLS. Yeah, he knows MLS, and
he will stay in MLS. And I believe he was part of the World Cup squad. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was
in 2022. So we'll see how Kaye fits into the rebuild plans that Bruce Arena has for the San Jose Earthquakes. I mean, for San Jose, it's only up from here, right? Because last year,
it's the only way you can go is up.
Like, you can't get any worse.
Basically, when you say San Jose and sports, the only way to go is up.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they lost the A's. I mean, it's not San Jose, but it's part of the Bay Area. But the Sharks, I mean, they're Macklin Celebrini and their young talent. There's hope. Hopefully, Bruce Arena gives hope to the San Jose Earthquakes and their fans as well.
You can't live off hope.
Yeah, it's something, right?
Yeah, it's something.
So if any San Jose Earthquakes fans are listening to this, at least it can't get any worse.
Yeah, exactly. MLS Board of Governors just approved a contract extension for Don Garber, Commissioner of MLS. Contract goes through to the end of the year, 2027. So that will take him through the World Cup that's going to be hosted in North America with the United States, Canada, and Mexico.
No surprise here. Don Garber's been the commissioner since the beginning of MLS and probably will till the next ice age.
Yeah.
So
you think of, I mean, this is something that's voted on by the Board of Governors of every team. You got to think the amount of money that he has made owners. Apple deal. We might not like it. Owners love it. So
more cash.
Things like that. Growing the game.
Adding more teams. moving
I
too
think
many.
I think he's kind of jumped the shark on the number of teams, but that's also North American sports. We just like adding franchises. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a thing. Love
And
him or hate him, he is going to be here for a few years.
yeah, for a long time. And the big one, back to Canada.
Yeah.
John Herdman leaves his post as the Toronto FC coach, and that's no surprise given the whole drone scandal and his involvement and everything. I was only TFC coach for about a year.
Year and a bit.
And
He started August 2023.
yeah,
Yeah. So he came in kind of like when Vanni Sartini came in with the Whitecaps in his first year. It was in August as well.
yeah.
Now here's the thing: is it a surprise that he resigned?
Good question. Not really, but it's given everything, no surprise here. And just looking back, John Herdman, he's been with the Canada setup for many years before he left to join TFC. He led the women to the bronze medal in London and in Rio. Led the Canada to the first World Cup in 36 years. I mean, he pretty much took Canada soccer from the trenches, but has a very complicated legacy.
Very complicated. You have to credit what he did with the women's and then the men's programs. The complete transformation of grassroots and youth football across the way, paving pathways for people. But you cannot ignore behavior and other things that have gone on, especially with what we would call cheating. I mean, the rest of the world might just say this is the way it is, but I'm sorry, it's cheating.
It's cheating. And man, like everything.
Now, again, John Herdman, we should say right now that this is all alleged. He has been named, hasn't been named.
Did not participate in the review.
What's going to happen? Yeah, he did not participate in that independent review. Kevin Blue, CEO of Canada Soccer, did say that there are possibly more suspensions and bans incoming. Obviously, John Herdman's got to be included as part of that potential, whether or not his license to work in Canada, and whether or not FIFA is going to come in and do something of their own, like they did with Bev Priestman. I have to think right now he is back in England, and I think he's doing the smart thing.
Yeah.
Not where Bev Priestman did not.
He had Herdman stayed at TFC, I think he would have been much, much worse.
It would have been much worse. He would have. This is the way it was going. It would have been later, and it would have hurt TFC. Right now, he gets to leave kind of on his own terms, a little bit. But he also leaves, makes a small statement, and he's going to disappear. He's going to disappear for a little while. Priestman didn't. And with the subsequent things that she's talked about, the thing that came out from her lawyer, she's going to go down swinging a little bit, and right now that's not going to help her.
Well, Herdman's just going to go down quietly for now.
If you want, you just got to leave, then start your rehabilitation tour, maybe 6 months before your ban is going to be, coming due, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how these two different ways of dealing with this affect both individuals.
Yeah, and for Herdman, I mean, we'll always applaud for what he did for the program, but you can't ignore the drone thing and everything else that he has done. I mean, he seems like a very nice individual. He was in person for one of his conferences after King at Can Champ this past year. He speaks very highly of his opponents. Seems like a classy individual, but it's hard to ignore the underlying.
Except when he's telling certain countries to F off.
Yeah, that too. And of course, the tactical stuff you can also talk about, like letting Alphonso Davies take that penalty kick instead of Jonathan David against Belgium. Yeah. Always. Like, it always makes you wonder, what if David took it?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, if you stay long enough with a national program or a domestic club, you're gonna pile up those what ifs, right? In any career, that's gonna happen, and you got to think for his decade plus with Canada Soccer, multiple positions, he piled up more than a few, but that has definitely got to be one of the bigger ones, especially on the men's side of the program.
Yes, definitely, and we'll see if his name pops up in the news regarding the drone scandal and everything else over the next few months. But right now, it'll be quiet for as of now.
I think it'll be very quiet unless there's news that does not come from him.
Exactly. And for TFC, I wonder who their next head coach would be. Would Jim Curtin take a look at Toronto given the budget they have? Though it's not really appealing given where their team is at right now.
I think Curtin
Toronto should be considering looking at Curtin.
I think they will look at Curtin. And I think just because of the financial resources, I think, and also being on the East, there's a greater likelihood of Curtin being with Toronto than there is with Vancouver. I still see Curtin going to Atlanta. I think it's like Vancouver, Toronto, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right? Like those are the chances. Unless Atlanta is like, nope, this is our guy over here. We've already had him picked. We already knew since we had an interim anyway. We decided this so long ago. It's just a matter of, crossing T's, dotting I's on a contract. I still say Curtin's going there. As to who's after that, I don't know who would be on the list. You got to think, because it's Toronto, Bobby Saramonis is vying for that job. He is in that backyard, and I know people have this thing, he's a CPL coach, all that. I think he's going to have a hard time to prove himself if he gets the job. But I think if he does it, if he shows in 6 months that he can get this team consistently into like that mid Eastern Conference table playoff spot, I think he's going to get a lot of people. I think if he can get them into like a top 8, I think he's going to get a lot of people on his side. And you got to think like a top 8 for Toronto, if he can get them playing consistently and playing with an identity, is going to do it. And you got to remember this. Yes, it's the CPL, but this guy's a perennial winner, and he also knows how to build something from the ground up, right?
And given Toronto, I think given their need to retool, rebuild. I get rebuild's the better word. Bobby Simeonis would fit the bill.
I think Toronto needs to realize that there's going to be some growing pains.
Yep.
So bringing in a guy when you can actually do that, because
and given a coach that can rebuild with the team, like a Bobby Simeonis, he would fit better for Toronto than Vancouver.
It's also his backyard, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I know Hamilton, Toronto, whatnot, but I mean it's his backyard. He knows the setup. He knows the pipeline coming from all the smaller clubs in like League One Ontario and all that stuff and upwards.
Yeah. That would be a dream.
I think it would be a brave choice.
Yeah.
I think I would applaud the choice. And I would have to say, even though it's Toronto, I'd hope that it pays off. I don't see it happening. I think the stigma between CPL and MLS is too great. I don't think Toronto's going to be that brave. I think they're going to go for a big signing, a big name signing. One of the big names that I've heard, and I think it was actually Brendan Dunlop who first put out this name, Jose Mourinho.
That's a pipe dream. I mean, Toronto has the money, but
Toronto has the money. I don't know. Is this a point in his career where he wants that? He wants that money. I don't see it happening either. But when I heard that, I was thinking, like, I don't know. Is he enjoying his time in Turkey?
Not really, from the looks of it, given that he's linked to other places.
A lot of other places. I think that is a very, very, very wishful thinking. But it was interesting to hear Toronto being linked like that, especially because Toronto likes to pride themselves on being one of the bigger clubs in MLS. Like their big and you look at their roster, that they should be.
And it also depends on what Toronto plans to do for the future. They want to keep the status quo and try to go for a playoff spot, or are they going to tear it down, rebuild? I think that also plays a factor into their.
Well, and I think also
head
what plays a
coach.
factor is the fact that the management of TFC changed at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
So they're going to want to bring in their own guy. And I think that could be a bit of a shakeup as well, especially because we don't really know a lot. I mean, I'm trying to remember the guy's name now; it's escaping me. But I think
Yeah, me too. I know who you're
I
talking
think he
about.
could do something that's kind of unconventional.
Yeah, I don't know where Toronto will go from here, but interesting to see who their next head coach is, and especially if he can coexist with Insigne and Bernadeschi.
Yeah. So here's
Because
the thing: who gets a coach first, Toronto or Vancouver?
who knows at this point? But both teams need coaches as soon as possible.
You got to think that it kind of puts pressure on the two to like get it done first.
Yeah,
Don't take our guy, sort of thing. Forgetting the fact that it feels like half of MLS needs a coach right now.
Yeah, New York, Atlanta, to name a few. So
yeah,
we'll see if there are any coaching changes in MLS soon. All right, over to Europe.
Yep.
3-0 win for Chelsea over Aston Villa. I mean, they also did play Heidenheim in the Conference League, which is a 2-0 win, which is a lot harder than it actually looked. But this one, we're going to talk about the Aston Villa game because it was a solid performance against a team that I forget is actually struggling right now, Aston Villa. So early again, Chelsea score. This team likes to score early. Nicholas Jackson, this guy again. I keep telling you all, believe in this guy. He deserves more respect, and he finishes Cucurella's cross, who did a good job pressing the Aston Villa back line. And 8 goals for Jackson in the Premier League this season. And we're in December. I believe this year he had 3, 4 this time last year. I can't remember, but Jackson's looking very consistent this year and is starting to look like the player that many believe he can be. And then Enzo Fernandez, his post-divorce form, I don't know what it is. Ever since that, he's looked amazing. Another assist, great 1-2 play by Cole Palmer, and very good ball control on the edge of the box to bury it past his international teammate, Emi Martinez. And it's also worth mentioning, in the first half, there was a rare indirect free kick because Pau Torres and Emi Martinez they miscommunicated. Emi Martinez played the ball off his line. So indirect free kick. Palmer tries to shoot, but it's blocked by Emi Martinez. Don't see that every day. I mean, Chelsea kept pushing despite Aston Villa having some nervy moments. Their best chance was Ollie Watkins in the first half off the Chelsea turnover, but Robert Sanchez came up big. Well done to Robert Sanchez for keeping a clean sheet, making the saves when he needed to. And late in the second half, Cole Palmer, one of his quieter games, but you can't keep him quiet for that long. Just on the edge of the box, was falling, takes the shot, curls past Emi Martinez. Beautiful goal. And Moises Caicedo played as a right back. And he did well. Midfield right back doesn't matter. He just keeps improving. He just keeps getting better. Great distribution, great ball winning ability. That's Moises Caicedo looking like one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. And then Marc Cucurella, left side. Man, it was just a nightmare for Aston Villa. You couldn't get past him. He kept inverting, pressing, like doing everything that, like, he's playing to his strengths. And I don't know right now if there's a better left back in the world than him. Yeah, there's the Robertsons, there's Davies, and there's many others, but Cucurella is up there. And Chelsea fans have been wanting to see Pedro Neto and Jadon Sancho together on the wings. First time they did that, both were dangerous with their runs, their balls. I mean, could have scored more goals if somebody got on the head of Pedro Neto's crosses in the first half. Like, Neto's crosses were just beautiful. Great. And same with Sancho as well. 4 assists this season. He's quietly having a good season. and it's not the he's not like what he was at Dortmund during his first spell. Not like that. Wow, this guy is amazing. This guy's world class, but good. They're getting there. He's getting there, and not just Sanchez, but the back line did their good job. Fofana made some gutsy tackles, and fortunately, he got injured again. Doesn't look as serious as when I last heard. And I'm just praying that the Chelsea fans are praying that it really isn't that serious because this guy has had the worst luck along with Reece James with injuries. And Colwell too. Very good defending. Solid win over Aston Villa. Chelsea are playing today against Southampton away. And their starting lineup. Christopher Nkunku starts instead of Jackson up top. The guy needs more minutes because when he plays, he scores goals. So give him the minutes. And look who's in goal. It's Philip Jorgensen, his first Premier League start.
Interesting.
And he was the man of the match against Heidenheim because he made some unreal saves. And as I said, I want this guy to play in the Premier League to see what we got in him. So this is a big test for him. Joao Felix also plays on the wing. And so does Nani Madueke. And backline's a bit different. Gusto's back in. And the center back pairing is Axel Disasi and Tosin. So rotated squad for today against Southampton. And then on Sunday, London Derby against your Tottenham Hotspur at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, who, again, continue to be the funniest club in the world. Can beat Man City, but can't beat Fulham.
See, if we're playing Chelsea, I have no problems. I have no problems.
Who knows at this point?
Now, if we are playing, I don't know, like we got drawn Tamworth in the FA Cup, I'm worried about that one.
Yeah, non-league.
I'm worried about that one. Tottenham 1-1 draw against Fulham after beating Manchester City in Manchester 4-0 and giving Pep Guardiola his worst home defeat ever.
No disrespect to Fulham though, they're a decent side.
Fulham's great side. Mid-table team. I think they're 10th or something like that.
10th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't say much. I mean, Spurs are 7th, so I can't really say too much. Tottenham has got injury problems. You take a look at their midweek game last week. They had an 18-year-old on the bench and 2 16-year-olds that had never played for the club. And also they're using their backup goalkeeper because, they're dealing with injuries. Richarlison has been out for a long time, whatnot. In this game, Solanke showed up to play, but Postecoglou ended up sending him back home because he was sick. So they didn't even have an out-and-out striker. They had to basically jury-rig the whole new lineup right before the game. But you cannot tell me that Dejan Kulusevski should not be starting every single game.
Why was he on the bench?
I don't know. I cannot tell you. He has the most created chances in the Premier League out of any player.
Yep.
And you put him on the bench. I don't understand, especially a team that is as stingy as Fulham. Kulusevski should be playing through the middle. If you want, play him on the right, fine. You can do that. But this is a game where you put him in the middle and let him cook. I don't understand this. Couldn't tell you. On top of that, Fulham went down to, I think, 10 players. So
yeah, they did.
Yeah. But the Spurs couldn't get anything done. Now, they did go up. Partway through the second half. Brendan Johnson in the 54th minute. Great for him. He's leading Spurs in goals. He's got 6 goals.
Where are the critics now, huh?
Yeah, where are the critics now? And the thing is, that's only in the Premier League. I think overall he has 10 now on the season.
I think so. Yeah,
it's December, right?
That's pretty good.
That's phenomenal. Forget also his creations as well, right? The assists that he has. Great player. I mean, this is his second season. We're starting to see what this kid can do. And let's be honest, he's a kid. He's going to get better.
How old is he? Like 21, 22?
Something like that. He's already a fixture for Wales. He's established himself. for club and country. So I can't wait to see more of what he can do. But injuries. We also, in the Premier League, we have the suspension with Roberto Bentancur. He's only, 2 games into his
6 games?
7-game suspension? 7 or 8? 7, I think. So that's not going to be done until Boxing Day, I think. So, but they've got to find ways. And they've got to figure out, or Postecoglou has to figure out how to play with the players he has if it doesn't suit his system. Don't get me wrong, Spurs are entertaining.
Yep.
They are the most entertaining team in the Premier League for good and bad reasons.
Oh, definitely.
You love him when it works. You're pulling your hair out when he stubbornly does not change. Watching the team is a heart attack waiting to happen. Let's put it that way. And I should mention, I did say the FA Cup 3rd round draw did happen. Spurs have been drawn with Tamworth. They are the lowest ranked club still in the competition. They play in the National League against, my boys in Braintree. So I don't know. Crystal Palace, Ipswich, these teams give Spurs problems. So I don't know. Tamworth, and the game is in Tamworth, I believe. I think they got drawn as the home team. So
I'm going to watch that.
They had the camera kind of in their clubhouse when the draw happened, and you saw everyone in Tamworth just cheering because that's
the magic of the cup.
Money. This is big money for them, right?
Yeah.
You bring this game in, all of a sudden now it's going to be a televised game. What it's going to do, this pays your roster for the year. So good to see. I'm hoping that I am able to watch this game somewhere. We'll have to wait and see. The only other thing going on with Spurs right now is the rumors swirling around Pedro Porro. You name a top club, they're attached to Pedro Porro. So far, he has been towing the line. This is where I am. I love where I am. I'm playing here. But the latest club to be attached, we've already talked about Real Madrid. We've talked about Man City, but Man United. And apparently, as hard as Man United is going in on Alphonso Davies as a left back, they're going on Pedro Porro for the right.
Oh, man. Could you imagine that under Amorim?
2 guys that love to get forward. You look at Porro. Porro's got a handful of goals to his name already. This guy loves moving up, especially playing in that inverted role that he just gets so much more freedom under Postecoglou.
Did Porro play for Sporting under Amorim? So that would probably play a factor, or unless I'm thinking of someone else.
Who knows? I'm not surprised. I'd have to look up his history.
I'm going to look it up. Yeah, but, I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah. Anyway, tomorrow we play Bournemouth. So in Bournemouth. So
Porro did play for Sporting under Amorim.
There you go. Being that Bournemouth is right now in 13th, I'm worried because when it comes to the lower half of the table, Tottenham struggles.
Funniest club in the world, I tell you.
You say funny, I say frustrating, but it's
funny for me, frustrating
it's all
for you.
The same.
It could have the same meaning.
Yeah, just depends on what side of the fence you're sitting, right?
Yeah, it's speaking of new managers and all that. Leicester City debut for Ruud van Nistelrooy as their new manager. 3-1 win over West Ham United, who their manager Lopetegui is on thin ice.
Very thin ice. Very, very thin ice.
Despite being outshot 8-31, I watched this a little bit. Leicester just looked more efficient. They were faster on the transition.
Yep.
They were forcing West Ham to making mistakes. They look more lively. They look so, what's the word, cohesive and quick and fluid under Van Nistelrooy than they did under Steve Cooper all year.
When it comes to, I'm going to butcher this name, Lopetegui.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah. The rumors is that he has 1 game to save his job. This weekend we'll decide whether or not he gets to move on. Rumors are already saying that they're looking at Sergio Cansiago.
Yep. West Ham have Wolves at home on Monday.
Yeah. And Wolves is...
Oh, man. Wolves. Just 18th.
Disastrous, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And then, we'll talk about Amarin. 4-0 over Everton. Yes, it's Everton. But 4-0 in your first game behind the bench is pretty good.
At Old Trafford. And, just full throttle that game was. And if you're a Man United fan, that's refreshing. Yeah, it's Everton.
Do you know what is also refreshing? Amarin comes out in his post-game comments saying that the team's not playing where he wants them to be yet. So you did that in your first game. You still think there's more?
That's good mentality.
Yeah.
Xerxes with 2 goals and Rashford with 2 goals as well. So 2 players that, struggling.
Absolutely.
That's something. United play Arsenal today. That's a big test for Ruben Amorim, and Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, Man City fans, all cheering for Man United today.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So go Amorim. And speaking of the other team in Manchester and Liverpool, this could have been a slaughter if Liverpool knew how to finish. 2-0 win over Man City in Anfield. I mean, it's not over till it's over.
That trophy. You already know who's winning.
Yeah, and could this be the end, once again, of the Man City dynasty? I mean, Liverpool are 11 points ahead of Man City.
Man City is an old team. I talked about this last week.
Yeah, we did.
Right? They haven't, brought in the players that I think they need to. And I don't know if this is just wanting the people that are already proven elsewhere rather than bringing in, and developing your own players. I know Pep's good at that. He has done it before, but the guys that normally do that,
he's one of the best at doing that.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked out this year. Like, I'm sorry, I said it last week. Where's Phil Foden? Where'd he go?
Ever since the Euros, he's disappeared.
Yeah.
Even before the Euros.
Yeah.
So they brought in that Savinho guy, but he has not proven yet. Same with Rico Lewis.
Yeah.
Not proven yet.
This is going to be the biggest test of Pep Guardiola's career. I'm very interested to see how he handles it.
And everyone's saying that, ever since Holland told Arteta to stay humble, City have been humbled.
Yeah. And again, Spurs have done it twice to them in that run.
And again, Rodri's void. Yeah. It's huge.
Again, Rodri deserved the Ballon d'Or.
The Ballon d'Or.
This is why. Look how important he is. He does the stuff that you might not. It's not the flashy stuff. It's not the goals and whatnot, but it is built around him.
Yeah, and the likes of Gundogan has been underwhelming. Silva's been underwhelming. Kyle Walker looks slow and old. I don't know, Jack. And now I'm reading stuff that's saying that Jack Grealish could play up top their next match or something. I don't know.
We're hearing about rift rumors between De Bruyne and Guardiola. Whether or not that's true, I know Guardiola has been trying to quash that, but
you never know.
Yeah.
And I put this out. It's no coincidence that Liam and Noel Gallagher reform Oasis and Man City are back to their 90s form.
It's a flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this. It's like, so everyone that's only watched the Premier League in the last 10 years, what we're seeing now, this is the Man City that we remember. Right?
Yeah, Man City before oil money.
Yeah, back when they ended up getting relegated.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 8-0 to I can't remember who at home.
I don't know, Coventry City.
Something like that. So
Radford.
This is Liverpool's title to lose, and Arne Slot couldn't have asked for a better debut season so far.
Yeah.
I mean, he's undefeated in the Champions League too. Let's not forget that. Yeah. And Liverpool are still in the cup competition, so Premier League's possible, double's possible, treble, quadruple. You never know because Liverpool just can't stop right now.
And do you know what it's going to sound kind of weird, but what I like about Liverpool is that you're not hearing about them in the news for any other reason than football.
Yeah, than the fact that they're winning.
They're showing up. They're doing their job.
And the
That's
only
it.
team to beat Liverpool this season, Nottingham Forest.
And look where they are.
Stingy. Yeah, stingy Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
And Mohamed Salah still looks like one of the best players in the world, even at 32. Van Dijk is, still Van Dijk. And despite, the meme that Darwin Nunez is,
Yeah.
he's doing his job.
You know what? I did mention they're staying out of the media. There is the whole thing about Salah and his contract and what's going on there. Hopefully they figured it out because they need to keep him around. Yes, bring in guys underneath, and I know Nunez is one of those guys, but I don't think you can get rid of Salah right now.
Because the guy just ages like fine wine.
Oh, he's phenomenal. I for as old as he is, I still feel he has seasons left.
Yeah, I think Van Dijk is the same, even though Van Dijk's like 33.
Defenders in the world.
Yeah, and one of the best defenders of all time. And Ryan Gravenberch, didn't think much of him last year, but he's looking like one of the best central defensive midfielders in the world right now, and could be for the next.
You remember
decade
last
plus.
year when Liverpool's midfield, it was like decimated. It was like they lost almost every player, and you're like, what is Klopp going to do? He built a midfield. Basically out of I don't know, baling wire and duct tape. And
I remember in the summer too.
And it's continued on. Like it's been able to progress under on slot.
In the summer, we were all talking about, Liverpool can't be title contenders because they don't have a proper six. Turns out Gravenberch was there the whole time, and he is the proper six.
Good on him.
Yeah, and when Klopp, FSG, did a good job finding players and building. They've built a well-built team, and not the flashiest team, but this is a team that is the best in the world right now.
You have to put him up there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Arne Slot, again, just the perfect successor to Klopp. Stylistically and the way it's gone.
Back when Tottenham was looking for a manager, this is one of the guys that I wanted. Obviously, he turned down the job. It wasn't the right time for him or the right team. But there was a reason I wanted him.
Yeah, Chelsea did want him too back in 2023, but he turned them down. And I think there's a reason why he held out and then just jumped to Liverpool. Because it just felt like the perfect fit. And so far, it's been the perfect fit.
And I think that was smart on him to wait for that. Look at what he did in waiting for the right club in contrast to Ten Hag. Came from a similar team, right? But he jumped to the next big team rather than maybe waiting for the next right team.
Yeah, and good on Slot. They're finding that out, and it's all good up in the Merseyside, the red side, that is.
Yeah.
So far. And Liverpool play Newcastle away today. So a lot of Premier League happening this week.
Yep.
One last thing, a little controversial. Mark Gay of Crystal Palace, also of England International, writes Jesus loves you on his armband, which has the rainbow for Pride Month.
Yeah. Not the only player surrounded in controversy. Ipswich Town's captain, Sam Morsey, did not wear the rainbow armband. Again, it wasn't mandatory, but it was part of a broader campaign, the Rainbow Laces. It sounds like nothing is going to happen to either player, again, because it was not a mandatory thing. But I don't know. Teams are dealing with players internally. I know the one of the supporters groups in Ipswich Town has already put out a statement saying they understand, respect Morsey's choices. What's happening with Gay, I'm not too sure. He put out a statement
just minutes ago.
Yeah. Saying that writing his message was one of love and faith, inclusivity.
That clarifies things.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. Personally, I don't think he did anything wrong.
It goes against the rules the Premier League has when they say what people are allowed to wear and whatnot. One of the things that they do mention is religious messages. I don't know. For me, for a guy that is not religious at all, it doesn't hurt me. But then again, I'm also not the target of the original message in the first place.
Same. So I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about this. Well, I don't think he did that much wrong, to be honest. But I get why people are.
I can understand it looking as a form of defacing.
Yeah,
right?
that might be it.
If you put out your own message, that's absolutely fine. Maybe don't write it on something that is already a message.
Yeah, maybe the armband wasn't the best place to write that.
Yeah, that would be the only thing that I would think, right?
Yeah, but at least Gabe responded to it and gave a very good explanation.
With Morrissey, I think this is not the first time. I think this also came up last year as well.
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah, and then they're also added to it. Apparently, Manchester United was going to have jackets that they were going to wear for the campaign, and that ended up getting scrapped because one player, unnamed player, refused to wear them. So it's weird how this is still a thing.
But I guess that's just and it's exhausting that it's still a thing.
I
mean, I'm not exhausting like the cause, but I mean like the controversy surrounding it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, but then again, neither of these messages are directed to me or about me. So
one of them is to me.
I don't really feel a need to, or I don't really feel that I need to have a voice in those,
I guess same with me as well. So if you're watching the live, that'll conclude the live session. But if you're listening to the audio feed, a little surprise for you, though you've kind of seen it in the description. Exclusive chat with ex-head coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps, Vanni Sartini, is coming up next. And those watching live, take care and all that. We'll also have a video of the interview with Vanni on the YouTubes as well.
Absolutely.
So that concludes the live session in this part. So Vanni Sartini up next.